Well, it was bound to happen eventually. I wanted it to wait a while whilst we built ourselves back up, but they have decided to beat us while we're down. WWF has once again declared war on WCW, and we're back at war. Let's see what we respond with. So this is it. The first Nitro since WWF declared war on us. We are now back at war. We need to put something big on. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And where we're going to do that? Well, it's quite simple. We're going to be doing that in what I think is the spiritual home of WCW, or more traditionally Jim Crockett Promotions. We're going to North Carolina, Elon, North Carolina to be exact, at the Elon Alumni Gym. And eventually, this is the decision which I've made, eventually I want to do Starrcade this year in the Greensboro Coliseum. I want to build it up so that our pay-per-view, we get 21,000 in for Starrcade. Because right now, yeah. Where did we do our last pay-per-view actually? We did the Big Bang in Nevada, which got 7,000 people. I want to try and get to 21,000 people in the Greensboro Coliseum by December. Let's see if we can do that. We start off, we have got 2 pre-show matches, both in our women's division. And we start off with Nanamomo, which is of course Nane Takahashi and Momo Nakanishi. And they're taking on Amber O'Neil and Mika Handa. Just pretty much a few people lower down the card for Nanamomo to defeat. And you know, Nanamomo are one of our big tag teams that we've brought in as a tag team. Obviously we've got Double and Nui as the other tag team. Nanamomo are our babyface big ones, so eventually we are going to be building to that match. Hopefully once they're actually popular enough to fit on the main show. We then get a crowning of the NWA World's Women's Championship. 20 women in the ring. Aja Kong, Akira Hikoito, Annie Social, Ayaka Hamada, Beth Phoenix, Chili de Melissa, Cutie Suzuki, Fabi Apache, Gail Kim, Jazz, Katrina Walters, Kiyoki Inui, Lefisto, Manami Toyota, Mary Apache, Micah Satomura, Mercedes Martinez, Stacy Keebler, Takayo Inui, and Tori Wilson. The final 4 are Miko Satomura, Tori Wilson, Stacy Keebler, and Manami Toyota is the winner of the NWA Women's Championship. A lot of debuts, a lot of new gimmicks, some good, some awful. We will have a look at all of those individually and prepare some changes. But we are looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this a lot. To building a strong women's division, mixing women's wrestling from the America with Joshi wrestling from Japan. 32 rating, great stuff. And when we go backstage to the Magnificent Seven's bed locker room. Their locker room, where Steiner and Jarrett are still arguing, and Ric Flair just goes to them, "Shut up, both of you. This is not what we founded this group to be. If you want to settle this, go and settle it. Go out into the ring. Tonight, main event, you two, fight each other. Get rid of all your angst, get rid of all your anger, and then just shut up." So Ric Flair sends them out there for the main event tonight, and it'll be Jeff Jarrett versus Scott Steiner. We then get a ladder match for a number 1 contendership at the Cruiserweight title, as Rey Mysterio Jr., Hayabusa, Jushin Thunder Liger, Kaz Hayashi, Tiger Mask, and Elix Skipper all fight in a ladder match. It's high spots galore. 3 debuts, Hayabusa, Liger's, and Tiger Mask was a good debut, and it was Liger in the end who won with his awful gimmick, so we'll have to fix that. Gets a 42 rating, and Jushin Liger will be fighting for the Cruiserweight title. And there's your confirmation. Jerry Lawler confirms it. Jushin Liger versus Shane Helms for the Cruiserweight Championship at the Great American Bash. That's our first official match penciled in. First announced match. Obviously, you can make assumptions on some of the other matches. We know there'll be a NWA World Title match and a WCW World Title match. And we can assume the NWA World Title match is going to be Kanyon versus Kevin Nash. But this is the first concrete booked match. Shane Helms versus Jushin Thunder Liger. 56 rating. We then get a bit of real life of the game seeping into kayfabe as Kurt Hennig takes Samoa Joe on as a protege. It just came up, so I decided, let's put it in. I think that's great for Joe, because Hennig's a great mentor to have as a wrestler. Less so as a... less said on that the better. 52 rating. We're hoping to elevate Joe a lot. In a few years, Joe will be one of our main eventers. Kanyon defeats Dustin Rhodes in 11 minutes 30 with submission. It's just Dustin's just someone I can throw out there with someone like Kanyon. He can take a loss. Doesn't need to win all the time. And Kanyon finally calls out Kevin Nash. He gets on the mic and he actually calls out Nash. And he starts talking about all of the things which Kevin Nash did wrong while he was in power in WCW. He talks about all the people that he helped to keep down so that he could stay on top. Including him, including Kanyon. And now look at it. Kevin Nash is out of power. We've got Bret Hart in power now. And look who's the champion. It's not Kevin Nash. It's not none of Kevin Nash's cronies, none of his buddies. It's Kanyon. Because Kanyon was always a star. And that's exactly what Kevin Nash was scared of. Now Kevin Nash might pretend to be this great guy now. Look, he's got DDP on his side. He must be a good guy. He can fool anyone. He's not fooling Kanyon. I think that's a good promo from Kanyon. You know, he's not very good at improvising dialogue. It's a 54, but I think the storyline purposes which you could do with someone like Kanyon, who, you know, in the Kevin Nash era was Mortis. And things you could do with him against Kevin Nash. I think that's great stuff. We got our second Goldberg return promo. These are going to be running for a while. Veer Mahan, here we come. Hardcore Open Challenge is answered by Terry Funk. And RVD picks up the win. Goes about 8 minutes. Hits the frog splash. Weapons galore. Second defense of his hardcore title. I think this reign's going to last a long time. And now, you know, that's Terry Funk and Masato Tanaka now. Two very ECW guys. Also, Terry Funk's a former WCW hardcore champion in his own right. So it's good stuff. It's a 60 overall, which is I'm actually pretty happy with, because considering the ratings they got there. We then get Bret Hart chatting to Manami Toyota as GM. He's just congratulating her on what she's achieved. She is the NWA Women's Champion. Congratulations, Manami Toyota. This is a weak match. Every week we seem to have one of these flop matches. Don't know why. This is this week's. It's Conan versus John Cena. Conan defeats Cena. Goes 9 minutes. Ziplock. Cena taps out after Eric Bischoff attacked Conan behind the referee's back. They didn't click, which makes it even worse. And Eric Bischoff cuts a promo. He offers John Cena the world. He offers John Cena the chance to be the next Hulk Hogan if he just joins him. Bischoff can promise Cena everything. All he has to do is stand by Bischoff's side. Bischoff's side. Cena doesn't actually answer, but he's thinking about it. Gets a 48 rating, and it continues Bischoff trying to find purpose with this new WCW. And the main event has great chemistry, which is great to hear, as Jeff Jarrett defeats Scott Steiner in 1753 with a figure 4 leg lock after Buff Bagwell and Animal beat down on Steiner. Rick Steiner and Lex Luger come out for the save, but Jarrett, Buffwell and Animal beat them down with chairs. The Magnificent Seven has combusted. Steiner turns face. Steiner turns face. And Luger turns face. All successful turns. And that is the end of the Magnificent Seven. Gets a 67 rating, which ties our worst episode of Nitro, which is a little disappointing. But I think we're still growing. It's why I didn't want to be in a war just yet, because we aren't ready for one. We are not ready to be competing on a national scale with WWF. WWF pulled out a 95 rated pay-per-view, had 3 99 rated matches on it. We can't. We literally just put 2 of our top stars in a match against each other. They had great chemistry, and it got a 71. We are not competing right now. We need to build back up, and who knows, maybe in a couple of years, we might be competing. Well, let me know what you guys think, though. A lot of debuts on this show. A new women's champion. A new Cruiserweight #1 contender. A new protege. A big face turn, splitting up the main faction from the dying days of WCW. There's a lot which happened on this show. Let me know what you guys thought, though. And I'll see you guys